Welcome to Money, Love and Life. Today we'll discuss why it is dumb to let your salary sit in savings account for years. And trust me, many of us have this habit of getting into a job, having a decent salary and putting all the salary in a savings account and forgetting it for years. Because we have this popular belief, we associate the word savings account with safety and investment with risk, right? Words like mutual funds, stocks, stock markets, so these things scare us. These things are associated with risks. We find this to be as a risky affair. Let's dig down further to understand how safe is the savings account. So before any explanation, I'll quickly try to make these three remarks. Number one, you are making your bank rich if you are keeping all your money in your savings account. You are not becoming the rich one. The banks are going rich because of you. Number two, because of inflation, you do not save money, but you lose money with passing years. And number three, to not invest is a greater risk. Let's explain quickly why I am saying this. To understand what is inflation, the rate at which the value of a currency is falling is called inflation, which means what we can buy with this 10 rupee note today, we cannot buy it tomorrow with the same 10 rupees note because the value of this 10 rupee note will fall eventually. That is the trend, that is the history. So tomorrow if I am buying the same item, what we could buy it today with a 10 rupee note, tomorrow it will cost us more. 10 years later it will cost us even more. And if we see the average inflation over the last few years, so this is 2012 to 2021, the inflation was 5.97. So average 5.97. Let's consider this to be a 6% for the ease of maths. And let's do a little bit of calculation to understand what is the situation here. If we try to understand what I'll gain over a 1 lakh rupee if I keep it in SBI, say I'm taking an example of a bank. So in a bank, if you keep in the savings account for 1 year, and if it is a SBI bank, you will get 2.75% per annum, right? So if I calculate after 10 years, how much you would get after 10 years, so that means it will be compounded because every year, let's say we are not touching that amount, we are not spending from that amount. So if I am keeping 1 lakh rupee, 2.75% interest, and for 10 years, so it will be yearly compounded. So it will give us, say, 1 lakh 31,000, right? So you will say, right, so we are making a profit. We are keeping 1 lakh rupee. After 10 years, we are getting 1 lakh 31,000 rupees. So yes, the money is increasing. What is the problem? Why you are saying it's a greater risk to keep money in the savings account? Okay, remember this figure, 1 lakh 31,000. Just remember this. I'll come back to this figure again. Now, say if I'm calculating inflation, okay, if I'm calculating inflation, so inflation will be 6%, right? Forget about what interest the bank will give. Just let's consider the inflation now. That means 1 lakh rupee after 1 year. So you have to keep your eye at this segment. Okay, this will show you the history of the calculation that I have already done. So just look here. 1 lakh rupee after 1 year, it will go down by 6%. That means it will not literally go down by 6% numerically, but the buying power of 1 lakh rupee will become equivalent to 94,000 rupees of that time. That means 1 lakh rupee of now, what I can buy with 1 lakh rupee today, I'll be able to that amount of money will not have the same valuation. It will become a valuation of 94,000 rupees equivalent. Similarly, the next year it will become 88,000. Similarly, if we run this calculation for 10 years, my money after 10 years, it will be equivalent to, it will be as good as today's 53,000. Again, to tell you, if you are keeping 1 lakh rupee, you are forgetting it for 10 years. After 10 years, that 1 lakh rupee will be treated. That means the buying power of this 1 lakh rupee will be as good as what you can buy with 53,000 today. Okay, so now this can we conclude that this means the buying power is reduced by half, 1 lakh rupee, and 53,000 it is changing to. So that means the buying power is reduced by half. That means, so now let's go back to the interest part. So we have seen there is a interest of 31,000. So that means that is also equivalent to half. So now we can see that this amount will reduce to 1,31,000 divided by 2. The buying power will be around 65,000. So your 1 lakh rupee will, even after the interest that the bank will pay, your 1 lakh rupee will be as good as the buying power would come as low as buying with 65,000 rupees. Okay, so this is why it is important to understand that keeping your money in the savings account is riskier than keeping your money in some stocks, in some other investment modes. But of course, a small portion of your money should be kept in savings account, which you want to access every now and then. But other than that, the major chunk should be invested in proper categories. Right? Thank you.